Hi, I'm Alpha, and this is my 5-minute morning show. Gee, what do you think people are talking about today, huh? You think it's the health care bill? But first, let's tease your brain a little bit. 55% of Americans have one of these in their car. 55% have one of these in their car. What is it? Well, you'll find out at the end of the 5 minutes, which begins right now. Yep, it's going to be the health care bill. That's going to be a huge topic today. I mean, it passed yesterday, in case you haven't heard. If you haven't heard about this, then you should remove your head from whatever cavity it's been in for a while. The health care bill has passed, and there are some winners, and there are some definite losers. A couple of winners: if you have a child with catastrophic illness, apparently they will be covered right now and can't be cut from your insurance. If you have a 26-year-old in college, you can include them on your insurance plan. But if you've got a 26-year-old in college, it's time to say, hey, come on, get a life. Get your own insurance, for crying out loud. I mean, I was on the 6-year plan myself, but you should normally get out of college by the time you're 22, right? So 4 extra years, unless you're a doctor or a lawyer, is kind of overkill. And if you are, you should be able to afford your own. Some other surprise winners in this, and in fact, there are a couple of entities that were deemed the demons in the whole thing. One is the pharmaceutical companies. You know, they got a sweetheart deal anyway, okay? Even though they get taxed like $80 million, they have already jacked up their prices to make up for a little bit of that, passing it on to the consumer. You know how that works. Plus, they get protected from being flanked by any generic drug. So they create a drug, no generic can come in for 12 years. I think it's maybe 5 years now, or maybe 7. So they get 12 years worth of protection. So as of over the weekend, if you don't believe me that they did benefit from this, then check the stocks, because their stocks were rising. Oh, also private insurance companies benefit from this. Yeah, they were supposed to be the demons in this too, right? Well, there was a provision in the bill that they could not raise their current premiums. But the parliamentarian looked at that at the last minute and said, no, that's out. We can't do that. Whether they can't do it or just refuse to do it, I'm not sure. But at any rate, they'll be able to raise their premiums too. So the very purpose of this thing was to lower the cost of health care, right? And it doesn't seem like that's going to work right now. Some of the states are already filing lawsuits. Virginia filed one. Idaho's already filed one. Florida's thinking about it. As many as 34 states are planning to file some sort of lawsuit against this thing. And it's because they're going to get the bill for a lot of the Medicaid shift. Okay, the state of Virginia has a Democrat governor, and he's complaining that they're going to be hit with $1 billion in additional costs for health care. And all of this hinges on a couple of things. See, the Senate bill had a lot of horrendous stuff in it, including the Cornhusker deal, the Florida deal, the Louisiana purchase deal. I mean, hundreds of millions of dollars just to buy a vote from a certain senator. Well, that stuff's still in there. See, it can only come out with the reconciliation bill that was passed. And the Senate, of course, has promised to pass that. See, the law of the land is a Senate bill. And until the Senate takes up this reconciliation bill and passes it or ratifies it, then none of that stuff matters. Plus, there was a little issue of the president's executive order. Kind of like a little pinky promise. Don't worry, we'll fix things. I think we have seen through this whole process just how disgusting, degrading, and infuriating the whole political process is. We see these people absolutely have no character, no backbone, no spine. They can be bought and sold by a few $1 million or a vote here or there. It's incredible. That's one of the things that we have seen in this. I mean, we've kind of known it all along, but we've seen it really in action for sure. Boy, it's ugly. Let's get on to a couple of other things. The NCAA down to the Sweet 16. That means 16 teams are left in this tournament, and they'll tip off again later in the week and get down to the Elite Eight, and then the Final Four, and then the championship, of course. There are some Cinderella teams. Now, they've called the NCAA tournament the Big Dance, and there's some Cinderellas in this thing. Cornell from the Ivy League, Northern Iowa from some league, I don't know, and St. Mary's, a Catholic school on the West Coast. Wouldn't it be great if a couple, maybe one or two, or maybe all three got in the Final Four? Would that not turn college basketball upside down? And Tiger Woods was doing some interviews over the weekend. He granted legitimate news sources 5 minutes, only 5 minutes. Ask whatever you want. Can't guarantee he'll answer it. And he did answer a lot of questions too. Well, that's between my wife and me. And of course, I mean, he's entitled to do that. It is actually between his wife and him, isn't it, when he gets down to it? Because he committed no crime. And what he didn't hurt you or me, so it is between him and his wife. He did say this, however, when he gets back to the Masters, he hopes to hear some claps. Yes, and I'm sure that's a word you're glad you didn't hear during all this skankalicious scandal going on. All right, the answer to today's brain buster, brain teaser, mind melder, 55% of Americans have one in their car. What is it? A roll of toilet paper. Yeah, 'cause you just never know. That's it, my 5 minutes. It's up. We'll see you next time. I'm Alpha Trivette.